the third part of API design. Okay, so third part,
Okay.
which is versioning of API.
Mm-hmm.
So API version. So many times people confuse API version, okay, with APG code revision. Okay, but that is
Mm.
not. So API version is not your APG code revision, because code revision is the indicator of your release version, right? Whatever changes that you have done,
Mm.
that you are doing, you are releasing in the code, right? So basically the application or whatever API, right? So
Mm.
that is a release version of the your proxy code, right? That is the
Mm.
API revision, right? So whenever you make changes,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So version is different, okay? So and also version change will impact your consumers. If you change version of your API, it is going to change your consumers, because they will not be able to uh, consume your existing APIs anymore. Okay, so that is why. So whenever you make any changes in the version, you have to make sure that consumers are aware about that well before, and they are able to adapt as per the new version. And also this thing, as much possible, okay, avoid making any kind of version change as much possible. So you should avoid making any kind of version change. Okay, so that is it.
Okay. So version and revision is different, right?
Correct, yes, that's why. So
Okay.
version
So
is a,
yeah. So when do you say version exactly, and when do you say revision? So
so ver-
revision, when we are doing any changes to the proxy,
correct,
we usually do it a new revision. Okay.
correct, that is
And
a revision.
versioning means when there's a change in code,
No, the change in
uh,
the
uh,
specification. So version
specification.
means the change in the specification. Okay.
Okay.
So that means, so basically when you make any change in the specification, that is the means version of API. Now there are two kind of things. So obviously, as I said, whenever you are making the change, so it is change version is the your contract is nothing but your API specification, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then as so basically, if you are making any change in the specification, okay, if you are making any change in specs, but after change of your specification, your existing consumer can still call the APIs without any problem. Okay, this means your changes are uh, you don't need to update the version. Okay, it can be
Mm-hmm.
part of the same API version. Okay, but
Okay.
if you make any change, okay, where which is going to break your clients, okay. So for example, there is a retail sector API in the retail sector. So say some time back, say GST was not mandatory, correct? GST was one not mandatory. Now
Mm-hmm.
GST number is a mandatory field. So you add a new mandatory field, correct? So if you add a new mandatory field, means existing clients will break, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they are not sending it as of now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a risk of existing client breaking, right? And some way. So that is a very common kind of thing. So in any kind of addition of a new mandatory field is a very common scenario, okay? That that is going to break your client. So in that scenario,
So
what you
if
do is
it's a mandatory field we add, then other clients may get affected. But if it's or
optional.
condition, then there's
Optional,
no
as
problem.
long as you can add
Optional
hundreds of optional field, doesn't really matter. Then you
doesn't
don't need to
matter.
update the version. Correct.
Yes, yes, okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Or if you have any response, in the response you are deleting few fields in the response.
Hmm.
Because if you are
Okay.
deleting, then there might be some client which might be using, correct? So there is a risk of
Hmm.
breaking, correct?
Okay.
Something
Okay.
like this. So
Okay.
basically you have to ask a simple question: is my change going to break anything or not? Existing clients, is it might
Hmm.
change in this specification? Okay, obviously first you do the specification change, then you do code change also, right?
Hmm.
Right. So that will be there. But here the change in specification, if the change in API specification, is it going to break your existing clients or not? If your answer is yes, means you have to add a new version for this. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
If it is not, you have to use the same version. So
Hmm.
API versioning, the most common way of defining API version is in the path. That is the most common and most popular way. So in our API, right, we have retail slash v1, correct?
Hmm.
So that is the one. So name of your proxy or name of your API, and then you have the version. So that v1 indicates the version of the API. Okay.
Hmm.
So first it will be the version, then I mean any new change which is going to break, that will become v2, like this. Okay.
Hmm.
If
Okay.
any other change comes which is going to break another one, becomes V3. But as long as we are adding any new resource, if you add a new resource, it is not going to break anything existing, correct? So that can be still in version 1, right? Like this.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you are in existing API specs, if you are adding a new mandatory field, then that is a problem, right? So that's why. Okay. So that is the thing. So we usually add the version, the communicator of the version is in the path, so the version number is given in the path. Okay. And usually the version number, as I told, version number should not be updated frequently, because as much possible try to avoid any kind of version update, because it is going to break the client. Okay. It should be as infrequent possible. Okay. If possible, keep version 1 for as many years as possible. That is the great, if your API design in such a way that, okay, any kind of versioning, any kind of impact is not going to break your client. Okay. Means, and you for 5 years 6 years you are still able to have API v1 only, right? This means that is the best possible scenario. Okay. Ideal scenario. Okay. But yeah, if you have to make any change, then you move to v2. And also version number should be a whole number, it should not be dot, like there should be no decimal point. Okay. No decimal, it should be v1 v2 v3, like this. You don't have v1 dot 1 1 dot 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not like
Okay.
this. Okay. So version number in the path, that you define the version in the path, that you give in the v1, this thing, v2 v3, like this. Okay. So that is the thing. And then ideal scenario, API version might never change. So in APG management API call, if someone is making the call, they will still use the v1 only. We are still using v1 in APG management API calls. Okay. And URL based versioning is the very common one, that is the most popular APG recommends, but that is not the only way. So in some API they define a separate header for version, so some X version something, and you can define a header, and v1 v2 you can send there, like this. Okay. For example, I think Twitter API has the version in the header. Okay. And yeah, different have the different, some will send the version in the query parameter, some might ask version in the query parameter, some might ask version in the header, custom header, some might ask version in, say, content type or accept header somewhere plus v1 v2, something like that. They can, like, define whatever scheme they want. But important thing is that when you define a versioning scheme, okay, that you give in the path or anywhere header or path or something, you don't change it. Okay. You become consistent. So versioning scheme should be defined at a very start of your API program. So when you're defining the API at the very first architecture and setting up your guidelines and everything, at the time itself you can define the versioning scheme, the, okay, that this will be my version scheme. Okay. Either it will be in the path v1 v2, like this, or in the URL or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
So once you define, just be consistent with that. Now another thing, now if you upgrading a version, right? So if you update from v1 to v2, because for there is some reason and there is unavoidable circumstances, if you have to update from v1 to v2, okay, then usually what happens is you have to notify all your live, okay, all the live consumers, right? The live customers or live consumers, you notify them as soon as possible. You tell them what changes are there, why you are doing, and okay, and everything. Provide them as much help as possible to migrate to the new version. Okay. Because thing is that from your point of view also, maintaining two versions is not a good idea, right? So maintaining
Hmm.
two API versions is not a good idea. And any kind of enhancements, you cannot do a backtracking of enhancement, right? You cannot do a, what is a backfill or something like that for enhancement, right? So any enhancement, now you will do on v2 only, right? v1 you will not
Hmm.
do any enhancement if any new changes are there,
Hmm.
right? So that's why.
Hmm.
So any so ideally what you should do is you should notify them as soon as possible. Keep sending emails, call, whatever way in the portal. Usually in the developer portal you can put a notice on the developer portal also. Okay. This is like a, on the front page you can draw, create like a, some kind of, yeah, notice or something in a very bright way, so that people can easily see that, okay, this is the notice and announcement and whatever. Okay. And when your version 2 goes live, okay, when your v2 API goes live, then ideally within the 6 months, the, obviously it is not like hard and fast rule, it is just a, like a recommendation or best practice. Within 6 months, make sure all your v1 customers are moved to v2. Okay.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
on the v1 you are getting zero traffic. Okay. Ideally in
Hmm.
production v1 should be
Yeah.
getting zero traffic, then you can
Hmm.
decommission that. Okay. basically
Yeah.
undeploy v1.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so that's it, you have to do. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's why, so you have to like set the deprecation and make sure that deprecation is done. But before deprecation, obviously there should be no live traffic. That also is very important, right? Because this is, as I said, in live system, you don't know it will impact whom and all those stuff, right? So
Hmm.
that,
Okay.
so that is how you do the versioning and the API deprecation. Okay,
Hmm.
so this is how
Okay.
it is done. Okay, so as I said, version changes should be infrequent as much possible. As I said, that is the first option. Always try to avoid any version change. If changes can be made without rolling out new version, that is good. And obviously, at the start of your API program, you have to select a versioning scheme. Choose, this
Hmm.
is the scheme for
No,
my project.
right now, basically, we are doing one migration project to evolution.
Hmm.
So, I mean, one SOR, which was known as communicator, is getting decommissioned. Okay, and
Hmm.
everything is moving to evolution. Okay, so
Hmm.
first the proxies which were created were all V1. Now, what we did is we created V2 proxy and connecting them to this evolution SOR. And one by one of the applications are migrating to this V2 from V1.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, it is very important that we handle the versions, because
Hmm.
it is going to impact our consumers. So we need to make sure from consumer side nothing breaks. Okay, so
Hmm.
they are able to migrate. If needed, you can have a call with them on Google Meet or Zoom or
Hmm.
whatever. Give them a sample walkthrough. Give them some ready-made code. This is a sample Java code or Android code, whatever, if possible. As much
Hmm.
help as possible from your side. Okay,
Okay.
or
Okay.
explain, you can write a one mail. In that mail you can explain all the changes that are there and everything, that's why.
Hmm.
So you have to communicate early and communicate often so that they are aware of all the changes. Okay, and
Okay.
they are able
Okay.
to do it within the reasonable time and all those things. Okay,
Hmm.
so yeah, that is the, yeah, from the versioning point of view, that was there in the uh, so So yeah, I was saying, so the portals are your direct customers. So these are these people. Then the first step of the adaptation is to build a great portal. Sorry, great product. So you have a
Hmm.
great product. You make it publish so that it is easy for developer. You publish on the portal. So portal becomes like your single window
Hmm.
for all the uh, what you say, all the consumption, right? So you
Hmm.
publish there. So first part is publishing, you build API, you publish it. But for consumption, all the consumption thing, all the whole consumption activities, portal becomes your single window. Okay, so your portal should have as much information. Okay, and it should make your the life of the consumer as easy as possible so that they can consume your APIs. Okay, so
Hmm.
you first build a proper product, then publish it there, and in the portal you have all the resources available so that consumer can their consumers, that developers can come there and see all the your whatever you are offering, right? Whatever you are offering and all, they can see, and then they can subscribe, and they can build great I mean, they can easily do the integrations, and they can build all the nice innovative apps. Okay, so you should provide the enablement. So in the portal you have the great developer enablement, means it should be easy for them to register. So on your portal any developer should be able to come, they should be able to register easily without any problem. Okay, and whenever they need any resources or anything, they should be able to yeah, you should, you can provide all the support. You can have forum, blog, everything on the portal, so that it is easy for
Hmm.
developer to understand and follow the
Hmm.
guide and easily integrate anything. Okay,
Okay.
so developer portal will enable the developer to learn about whatever you are offering, right? So that is the main thing. All
Hmm.
services, they will learn how to use your API by going through the documentation. Sometimes in the APIs, the open API specs, as you know, so there are like very good renderers available. So there are a lot of
Hmm.
modules which can render those open API specs nicely on the portal, and people can even try that. So on the, there will be button to try all these things. So even if you have like a sandbox implementation, like sandbox means the hard coded response. Okay, mocks or sandboxes. So from the portal, they can either sometime try the actual API also. If they have, they can try actual API, or they can try the sandboxes. So by having a hard coded response, it depends on the company, whatever they want. Okay, so they can prepare, and they can uh, integrate from the portal, make the actual API call. So we call it live documentation, so they can even try out the live API calls. And then it should be easy for them to register using the self-service process. So there should be like self-service, it should be all be self-service. Basically they should not be bothering your API team, okay, after from the portal. Everything should be available to your portal. They don't need to bother your operations team or API team. As simple as possible. If uh, all the information is available on portal and developer is able to understand easily, and they are able to follow those steps and build their first integration. So this is like, so basically you should minimize the time to the first hello world app, okay, using your API. So if you are, so as much possible, give information, make it easy for them. So their first integration, basically their first hello world app using your API, it should be simple, straightforward and easy, okay. If you are able to do, means your portal is great, okay. And that is the aim of any portal. Now there are multiple types of developer portal for APG point of view. So APG comes with this integrated portal which is there, built by APG. It is APG only, it is part of APG public cloud only, it is not there in APG private cloud or anything, okay. In APG public cloud they have a portal, but it is very very limited capability. This APG portal has very basic feature, very limited capability. In reality, real project no one uses this integrated portal, okay. It is more like just a very basic feature, just to get an idea that okay, this is how a portal should be, or this is a portal like this, okay. Then now we have APG has published a module for Drupal, okay. So Drupal is a website building software, or Drupal is a uh, yeah, it is a website called content management system, CMS. I'm not sure if you heard about Drupal. So it is a very popular
Yeah,
content
yeah.
management system, or so yeah,
Hmm.
Drupal, yeah, WordPress and all is like similar to that. So with Drupal, so Drupal, as you know, it is a PHP based technology. So you need a Drupal expert or Drupal developer for that. Our team, APG team, usually don't deal with the Drupal portal development. Okay, so there will be a separate developer for Drupal. So for portal team, there will be separate portal development team who will develop the Drupal stuff and all. Okay, so and they will be build that enterprise grade, yeah, Drupal is that content management system. Because Drupal you can set it up very easily within few minutes or
Hmm.
few hours. You can have a basic portal ready in Drupal which will have lots of features, okay, with lot of feature.
Hmm.
All the ready-made components are there in Drupal. So that's why, so APG has created a Drupal module and they have published it they have made it like open source. So anyone can now use that APG Drupal source, Drupal open source module, okay. It is highly flexible, but obviously there is a higher learning curve and effort needed because you need to hit Drupal. But yeah, APG people can do the Drupal admin part. Drupal admin is very easy. You can like website admin. I will show you in that demo. Okay. So
Okay.
there is a live. I have in one of the projects that I'm working on. I'm also the Drupal admin, the portal admin. I do all the publishing and everything from API. Okay.
Hmm.
So this is you can do all these things, create pages, publish documentation, and do all the changes on the portal using admin console. So there is a very good admin console which allows you to maintain the whole website easily, okay. And
Hmm.
Drupal is very highly flexible, but obviously there is a learning curve required to, so that you need to understand the Drupal portal, how it works and all those stuff. And you also need a expert. So if you need any change on the portal, right? So Drupal gives you a lot of stuff, but if you need to add a new feature, many times people ask for new
Hmm.
feature on the portal, like add this feature, that feature. So they need to understand PHP and Drupal also, how to integrate a normal PHP code to Drupal and all those stuff that they need to
Hmm.
understand, and that you have to do it. So that's why you need the Drupal experts for that. So doing the thing. So APG
Okay.
people, our team, they cannot do it. They can manage the portal, but development of portal or enhancements on the portal only Drupal guys can do. Okay.
Hmm.
So that is one thing, and that is a very popular. Most of APG clients, they are, at least most of them that I am aware of, they use Drupal portal only. Okay. And then there is another thing, you can build it yourself or do DIY, like do it yourself. So APG
Hmm.
has management APIs, right, for every activity. So for all
Hmm.
these things, you can build your own platform, use your own technology, everything, and you can
Hmm.
use APG management API to yeah, do all these things. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So call APG management APIs. So now, which type of portal to use when? So if you have to integrate port, so if there is, if you already have a website, okay, if you already have a website and you have to integrate APG into that, so then in that case you can call management API, integrate with that, and build your own custom portal. So that will be better. Okay. When if you are using APG as private cloud or APGX or whatever, then you have to use Drupal portal only. Then there is no other option. Okay, if you so Drupal portal, and and if you want to use monetization on the portal, if you want to use monetization on portal, then APG has a monetization module for Drupal. So that's why then you have to use Drupal only. Okay, then there is no other option.
Mm.
And if you need things like blog forums, and if you need heavy customization and everything, then better to use Drupal. So Drupal allows you to build enterprise grade portal, right? So that is the main thing. So most of them you need enterprise grade portal for API, right? So that you can build easily with Drupal. Okay, so
Mm.
Drupal is the most common and most popular way for building the portal. And obviously, but with Drupal there will be hosting cost, there will be development cost, all these things, right? So there is like a cost for ownership and hosting and everything. And you need
Mm.
to have at least one guy. I mean, anyone can manage the portal admin part, but at least better to have one guy also who knows the Drupal, right? So if any enhancements or any changes, you need a Drupal expert, so that you have to do. Okay, so that's it.
Okay.
So then integrate portal, as I said, it is not used in any live projects very well. But if you are building any if you are new to APG, right, you are building a very new API program in APG, very new. Okay, and you just want to notify your internal people in the same company, other departments, you can quickly build that APG portal, launch it. And but after 3 4 months, if your API adoption is increasing, right, people are adapting to your APIs and all those stuff, then better to use Drupal portal or build any custom portal. This portal is
Mm.
not like enterprise grade. It has very basic minimum feature. Okay, so that's
Okay.
it. Okay, so we will this there is a lab, but this lab will not be possible because we are using APG public. Sorry, APG public cloud account with which is a paid account. It is an enterprise account, so I cannot create a portal with their account. It will be then
Mm.
problem. So I will give you a demo of one other APG portal that is there. Okay, the live one.
Okay.
So here, let me share the screen now. See my screen.
Yeah, I can.
So this is like one of the portals. So it is this portal belongs to SRG SSR. They are like a public broadcaster of Switzerland. Okay, so it is like
Okay.
BBC. BBC is for UK, Doordarshan is for India, SRG is for
Mm.
uh, this
Okay.
thing, Switzerland. Okay, so they are
Mm-hmm.
public broadcaster. They are a government agency. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
there here you can see. So they have lots of APIs. Okay, and this is the portal they have. So this portal has like in the portal you can see this is some the recent the recent announcements or something are in the recent blog post. Okay, and they have many posts in German, many posts in English. So because in Switzerland, German is the main language for communication. Okay, so the most of their articles might be in German, but API specifications there are in English only. Okay, so you have featured APIs, articles, and everything, and then the complete list of API is there in this API catalog. Okay, so this is where your complete list of APIs, and here also you see the information and some other categories. So they have some categorized APIs based on certain. Okay, so categories based also, and you can see. So here, for example, if I go to some API, say this one SRGSSR audio, or let me this one. Wait. Um, Let me go to your weather. This is like a weather API. They have like this weather API. It is one of the very popular APIs that is used by the customers. They actually right now have more than 4,000 registered developer, 4,000 plus registered developer in production, and like thousands of them, like not all of them, but yeah, many of them are highly active. Okay, so they have like a very
Okay.
successful and very, what you say, a happening kind of API program. So here this is the
Mm.
APIs and all those stuff. So you can go through the like anything about API. So some information about what are the API offer and detail and everything, and then API documentation and some example and information. All kind of pages and all you can do it. Okay, so all kind of
Okay.
things you can here do easily with the portal and all those stuff, as you can see. And now if I want to log in, so I can go here. If you want to get your account, you can get your account also, you can sign up and everything.
Okay.
You third party
Mm.
developer easily. But if I want to log in, so I have admin account, so I
Okay.
can do both develop admin and also as a third party developer, both I can do. Okay,
Okay.
there I can do all kind of things. So I can manage. uh, this one. I can manage, as you can, content structure, configuration. I can manage the whole website from here. This is like Drupal admin. Okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
want to manage content, add content. You can do all API reference page, API offer page, basic page. All kind of things I can make it from here. Okay, and then
Mm-hmm.
I can do and other blog posts, and also I can do and all those stuff. Okay, and
Okay.
then here
Can you
if I,
click on API catalog once?
yeah, so we are already in the API catalog. So yeah, it is.
Okay.
So list of all the
Yes.
APIs and all the stuff. So here,
Mm-hmm.
now if for example, if I want to, now here I can see my own apps. There is a link here to see whatever
Mm-hmm.
apps I have registered as a developer. So whatever apps I have built as a registered from myself as a developer account. So here this portal is connected to Apigee. It will create a developer app account. All the developer account, everything is there in Apigee also for this. Okay, so this one.
Mm.
And then if I want to make any call, test any API, right? So what I can do is I can uh, here, so uh, here for example, if I want to go to an API and test it, so I can go to API catalog. Here I can, if I want to add an app, so I can click on add app here, and it will ask me some basic information. Select which app, which API, like basically these are nothing but your API products. Okay, select one of the products. Okay, product you have to select, okay, from this radio button, and then you can click on add app button to create app. Okay, like this. Okay, so all
Yeah.
these things are there to add an app. Now if I want to make a call and test from portal, I can go to this sref weather app. I can go to say API documentation. Okay, from here also if I want to test, there is option. So I can also download the whole open API spec, the swagger file I can download on my own, and I can go
Mm.
through the specification on my own system, and I can even build client um, applications for this. Or if I want to test the API if it is working fine or not, I can simply click on authorize. Here I can select this. There is a SRF weather test app anyways. So I will select this app of mine. When I click on authorize, it will call the OAuth API. So it will call the
Mhm.
OAuth API, and it will get the OAuth token. Okay. So internally this is
Okay.
there from the Swagger, and I just want to get anything. I want to just see the geolocation, for example, right? Just make a geolocation. I can go here. Okay, I don't have latitude, longitude. Okay, I don't have latitude, longitude. Let me call any API which doesn't have. Uh, yeah, zero location name. Okay, geolocation name. Click on try it out. Authorization I don't have to provide. Name, what to do. Zurich, right? So Zurich is in Zurich. If I get Zurich, let me make a call here, and it will uh, give the response here. This is the response body. So it will give me, because it is Swiss API. I have to provide only information from Switzerland, not outside of it. Okay, it will give me
Okay.
the detail about this Switzerland. This is Swiss. It is making actual API call and getting the data. It is displaying here. Okay, so
Okay.
that's what you can see. If I want to see, let me go to here SRG SSR. Okay. Um, so this is native API v2. If I show you the trace here, let me click on execute button again. I click on execute, it will go call, and here you can see in the trace, you see v2
Mm.
forecast, not
Yeah.
so it will come here anyways. No, not this. Where is it going? Why is it not coming here? Self mediate. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, it will go to Apigee. It will get the response from Apigee, and it will display it here. Okay, so and here in the live, anyways, you can see a lot of calls. Anyways, the production. So anyways, won't do much. So this is how you can do. You can check from the developer point of view, and from admin point of view, you can admin, and you can third party developer. You can go see the specs. You can register. In the blog post there is also there is a getting started page also. If I am a new person, right, if I'm a new guy who doesn't know which API to use and all those stuff, you can see all these information about OAuth security, how to get OAuth token, the sample curl is there and everything. And then how to, they have also built a video, you can see they have built a video and put a video also there.
Okay.
And this is my video only, okay, so this is I have only prepared.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah, so this is yeah, kind of all the documentation on how to get started and everything now. In a normal
Okay.
login you will not see this edit delete all these things, because I'm logged in as an admin. I see
Admin.
these,
Okay.
that's why,
Okay.
because I have admin rights on this portal. Okay, so this is like how to get uh, description to get a war token everything, and then use the token to make API call. Okay, so yes. So yeah, this is on the portal, so that is how important.
Okay.
Any questions you have?
No, no, okay.
Okay, so yeah, that completes our chapter number 8. Okay,
Mm.
and then here, um, uh, so yeah, so this is the next one is the message logging and stack driver. So
Mm-hmm.
here, logging is one of the most common ways and best ways to track down any issues. See, in APG production, what happens in APG, we have a trace, but trace can only
Yes.
work in the 10 minutes, right? Maximum 10 minutes or
Mm.
20 API calls, whichever is
Mm.
faster. Okay,
Mm.
so if you really want to debug anything in production, that you, APG doesn't log the request response data anywhere, okay, because of the
Mm.
compliance reasons. APG
Mm.
doesn't log the request response data. You have to, okay, so that kind of data you have to, you log using uh, these message logging policies. For that, APG provides message logging policies. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why, so there are two kind of message logging. Either uh, there is a syslog server, so there are like very popular things like Splunk or Elk or something. Okay, so there are like ready-made products. Splunk logging and monitoring products are there. I mean, Splunk is most common. Splunk and Elk, I have done a lot of integration with Splunk and Elk. Okay, and then
Mm.
then apart from that, they have syslog server. So so that's why you can set up Elk or Splunk on the separate syslog server, because those log servers need a very big size, minimum 1 TB, because log
Yes.
message, as you can write, because it goes very long. So those syslog servers need a very big size and all those stuff. So from APG, message logging policy can send those message log to those syslog server. So message
Mm.
logs are usually sent as a JSON. So we prepare a JSON for which will have all the data, incoming payload, header, whatever that, any data that you want to put in the log, you prepare a JSON which will have all the fields and all the data, and then it will go to the syslog server. Okay,
Okay.
so then so yeah, so these syslog servers are available, this thing. Then apart from that, if you have APG private cloud, so if you have APG private cloud, then you can do logging on the MP server, message processors. Okay, so on message processor itself you can log. So you can log on the file, so you can do a disk logging, you can log on the disk with management server. Okay, in that disk you can log on the file system. You can log, it will get a log files, and those log files can be rotated. So those log files can be, then either you can move log files to some other server after a certain time. Okay, so that, because log file, the size will be big, right? So you need to rotate the files. Okay, so you
Mm.
can rotate the file based on the time, either daily, morning or evening. Change, rotate the file, or have a, or based on the size. If the size becomes 1 GB, you move the file from this server to some other backup server and create a new file like this. Okay, so this kind of things can happen. Okay, so you
Okay.
can, so here in the message logging policy, so you can define the syslog. So in the syslog you have, this is the message part, this is the message that you can put. So your message, whatever message you want to put, you will put the message. Okay, and then you can define all the whatever fields you want to put, you put it in the message section. And then in the host, you if you are going to log on the some different hosts, okay, on the log
Mm.
server. So you provide the host name of the log servers, okay, and the port number of the log server, the protocol either TCP or UDP, that is the protocol of the log. Then you can define format message true so that you can do the formatting. And if they have SSL, you can enable, say, SSL enable true. So your log message, the JSON of the log message goes as a encrypted, okay, it will go encrypted way, so that if anyone try to read your log message, will not be able to read, okay. And log level, you can define log level, warning, error. There are 3 4 standard log level. Info is there, warn is there, error is there, like so, 2 2 3 one of the standard log levels, okay. You can define that, okay. So this is yeah, so this is what you can do in the message logging policy. So there are different tags. So for file logging, you have a different tag. For this, you have different tags. So the tags will be different for different kind of logging, okay. So there is
Okay.
a let me show you. So on APG documentation, so if you say message logging policy, so here in the message logging policy, you can see this is, there are a lot of examples. So if you want to log syslog, right? Syslog, you can
Mm.
say this is like the to the log server, you can date format whatever, syslog or SSL. Or if you want to file rotation, right? You have file rotation on the size, file rotation. You know, so if you are logging on the file, right, local disk, then you can do this thing, file rotation on the time and size and whatever. Okay, so that's why you
Mm.
can do. So let me ping you this one. So that way you can yep, just whenever you get time, go through it. So this this will give you idea. So it has all the samples and all, okay. So this policy page, okay. So then there, Google also has a product called stack driver. So it is acquired by Google Cloud, GCP, okay. So if you are
Mm-hmm.
using APG X or if you are using APG hybrid, so Google will ask you, they are like kind of promotion. It is more like promotion kind of thing, because they will want to promote their internal product. So stack driver also like a logging product which Google has acquired. So now you can log from APG to stack driver. So uh, but I don't know stack driver is free or it is paid, or what is the costing mechanism, that I don't know. But yeah, Google
Mm.
usually, if you are using APGX or APG hybrid, they will recommend put on stack driver. Either they will, I don't know. Yeah, that's why, because there should be some pricing involved, because it is going to take a lot of space, right? So, but yeah, they might either give a very good deal or something. So if you have a relation with Google Cloud already and you are using logging, so you can use stack driver. So APG has a stack driver extension, so I you can use a stack driver extension, or you can define the message logging policy and use the stack driver domain name or whatever, like the stack driver host name or something. So that also you can use, okay. So
Mm.
stack driver yeah, is a good alternative uh, to because if you don't want to spend money on setting up another log server, right? If you don't have any other log server, you already have a relationship with like Google Cloud, and yeah, they're giving you good deal. So people sometimes use stack driver itself for the logging monitoring, okay. Now one thing that is there for logging, what happens, logging is pretty much like service call out, if you think, right? So you are preparing a request, you are sending the data to some other server, right? It is like service call out, right? Calling another server to put the log data. So logging can take a lot of time. As you can see, you are calling some other server, okay, and putting the data in the log, or even the file logging, both, even file logging or logging to a syslog server. These thing can take some time, and if it takes a lot of time, it can impact your performance, and because your latency will be there, right? So there will be latency for logging. So logging is going to introduce more latency or take more time. So that can be a problem for you in terms of your API performance. So in order to avoid that kind of issue, in order to avoid that performance issue or avoid latency, adding to the latency, what happens is APG has a special flow. APG has a special flow called post client flow. So this is a post client flow, okay. So this post client flow, okay, is added in the proxy. So you can add a post client flow in the proxy, and that post client flow is executed after the response is sent back to client, okay. So it is not going to impact your existing flow. So this post client flow is a special flow, okay, in APG proxy, which is executed after the response is sent back to client. So this is happening in parallel. So you send the response to client, and in parallel you can do the logging. So that way, because it is parallel, it is not going to impact your performance. So whatever time your proxy takes in normal, it will take in the normal activities anyways. Okay. In the post client flow, only message logging policy is allowed, and stack driver extension policy is allowed. There is no other policy allowed. Okay. So only these two policies are allowed in the post client flow. Okay. Other policies are not. Okay. So this is yeah, this is used for as I said, for logging the section. So that will, it will make sure your logging activity is not uh, hindering the performance, or not negatively impacting your performance. Okay. So that's that. So that way, no latency added and all those. But there is one thing in the post client flow, because here, if for the first time, right, if you're integrating for the first time, and if you are getting any kind of error, you're not able to reach or whatever, then from the debug trace you will not be able to find reason, because your, it is not a functional requirement, correct? Logging is not a functional requirement, it is a non-functional requirement. Okay. So it is not going to impact functionality, and in the trace you will not get to know, because it is happening in parallel in the trace. Because even if error comes, it will not impact your response, your API response will continue to go, right? Only in case of error also you will not get to know if the error is successful. So you have to make sure on the second side, the other side, you have access to the second server, the log server, and on the log server you can see if the log is coming or not. If it is not coming, what is the error or something. So there you have to investigate and check that out. Okay. So from the other side you have to investigate more, because from the trace you will not get to know much of the idea. Trace will, because it is sending, it is sending, that's it, right? Because the error or success doesn't really matter on your APG here, right? So this is just a logging thing. So that is something in the initial stages you might have to, yeah, check the other side for the
Hmm.
for integration, that your integration with log server is successful. Once it is success, then no problem.
Okay.
So yeah, that yeah, so that is on the logging part. uh, let's take a 10 minutes break, and then we will. So analytics, as previously we saw in APG, when the request comes, okay. So apart from payload, all the data that is coming, that is stored in analytics. So
Hmm.
analytics provide a visibility into your whole digital value chain. So you can get information from the end user point of view. Your app, lot of analytics for app. You have app performance, app usage, API performance. You can filter by device, platform. You can get developer analytics, the top developer engagement, top API users, products, top apps, all kind of information. And you can get API analytics. So about the traffic reports, traffic patterns, the performance of the APIs, from which geolocation. You can even detect any anomalies that is coming from the APIs, and you can have lots of metrics are available. You can see the traffic, you can see the response times, you can have error, data exchange, everything you can do, and the which
Hmm.
backends are being called, which IPs are being called, and and what is the response time from the targets and all those stuff. How many success, how many failures, all kind of things also you can check. So you can get idea about the whole, as I said, whole digital value chain. Okay.
Okay.
So APG provides like many out-of-box dashboards. So there are a lot of uh, graphs and charts available. Okay, from in APG, from analytics point of view, APG will populate data within few seconds. Okay, of your API call, the data will be visible in the analytics. Okay. So all
Hmm.
kind of analytics reports are there, and you can even have the cache analytics. So if you are using caching, so for the caching purpose, obviously how much is the cache hit, what percentage of call is being cache hit, and everything. So that also you can check. And then if the cache hit is very low, then you can go and revisit your cache keys and all those stuff to make sure you are getting more cache hits and all those stuff. So all those
Hmm.
things you can do there. Then apart from the standard reports, you can build your own reports also. So you can define your custom metrics, dimensions, queries, and yeah, report, dashboard, all kind of thing you can build. So APG provides you a lot of pre-built fields which are there, and also you can have custom fields also. So analytics, you can put custom data also, and you can use
Hmm.
the predefined APG data also, and you can build your reports. Okay. And you can
Okay.
define and build your custom reports also. And also, apart from custom reports, API has analytics API. So analytics API is the management API through which you can get your any kind of report, data from analytics that you can get using those analytics management API also. So all these things, and you can integrate. That's why. So once you can get data from analytics, you can integrate your analytics into any custom analytics also. So if many companies, many of their companies, they have their own analytics platform, right? So they have, sometimes they use analytics platform, and they might need data from Apg. So you can make management API call to Apg, get the analytics data, and provide the export the data to that enterprise. The company is using anything.
Okay.
So you can, yeah, you can measure. So that's why over in analytics is the only way to you so uh, analytics is the only way to give you evidence of your API program success or failure. So how your API program is doing. So because as a developer and all, we build APIs and all those stuff, but senior management, right, they will not understand technicalities, right? They would like to
Hmm.
understand this, how the whatever system that you have built, is that system being used or not, is it successful or not. Then what you can do is you can show them the analytics reports, so they can see those analytics reports. There's metrics, graphs, and charts and everything. Okay, so they can and they can also build their own custom reports if needed. So that way you can showcase it to them how that API program is doing. So that will give them the evidence, right? So I have like thousands of customers. I have the hundreds of APIs. Look, no, hundred thousands of API calls are coming every day. You know, that kind of thing, right? And we are
Hmm.
connecting different backends, all kind of things. So that way it will give them the evidence that okay, people are adapting to your APIs. The APIs are being used a lot, and it is giving you good visibility about what is coming from outside to in, what is going from inside to out, right? So all the visibilities and everything. And another thing is that you can have like thousands of client applications, right, or millions of users and all those stuff, right? And then on the on the backend also you can have hundreds of backend, but Apg layer will be the common one, right? So API gateway layer or Apg layer is the common. So whatever is coming from outside to your system, or whatever is going from inside to outside, right? So that Apg is the single source of truth that can give you the complete picture, because one specific backend will only give information about that backend, correct? It will not give for other backend. But from Apg you can get whatever is coming. Everyone is, if all the calls are routed through Apg, and that is the usual practice, right? So if you have API gateway, so you route all the traffic through that API gateway or API platform. So it will come, you will yeah, forward the call to your backend and all those stuff, and it will give you a clear picture. So total how many people who are consuming, it can be internal, external, both, so internal or external, how many people are like consuming your systems, APIs, okay, and yeah, how many yeah, backend systems are there, and how often they are called and used and all those stuff. Okay. And also you can also do things like, so for example, sometime if your APIs are giving slow response because of the backend. So if your backend is very slow and your API is giving responses in slow way, so what you can do is you can check the analytics reports. Analytics will give you the response time and all those stuff. You can measure up and you can share that with your backend team, and you can tell them, the backend team, okay, uh, your APIs are very slow and this is the evidence and all those stuff. And then the backend team can, check and fix those APIs. Okay. So those kind of things can be, yeah, done uh, via analytics. And then in Apg you can put custom data also in the analytics. So Apg has a lot of data anyways, but obviously based on the business requirement, if business asks you to put some data in analytics for this one I mean for some reporting and all those stuff, so what you can do is you can have in Apg Edge, you can have these custom data. So, for example, if they want, like in API call, there is a field called product category, business unit, so that field is coming up, and then you can, uh, if you want to put the data in analytics, so for which business unit the calls are coming more, for which product categories and all those stuff, all kind of things, you can put that specific field. So in analytics, recommendation is to put that specific field which you want for analytics. You don't want to put the whole payload, right? So if one or two fields which are there and which are very essential and critical for your uh, uh, you know business point of view, from reporting and all those stuff, so that you can put there.
Okay.
So see. So in order to put that, Apg has the statistics collector policy, or we call it stats collector. stats or statistics collector policy. Okay, so that stats collector policy is used to put the data in custom data in the analytics. So stats collector policy has fields like, so here for every statistic, for every that data that you want to put, so that will be in the statistic tag, and then this is the name. So name is the name that you want in your analytics report. So in analytics report, what will be the name? Okay, ref is the variable name that you want to put, and type is the type, and then this is the last field is like, if you don't have the variable set, if the variable is not set in some API call or not coming, then what you want to put. So that in case of no variable or nothing, you want to put some custom data, I mean some default value, you can put it there. Okay,
Okay.
so in terms of data type, it's you Apigee supports string, integer, float, long, double, and boolean. These are the data types supported. Okay, and also if data is already entered, so if you see you have added a statistic value and data is entered already, then after data is entered, you cannot change the data type. Okay, so that is very important. So if you there's a requirement to change data type later on, then you have to give a different name. You cannot use the same name again. Okay, so data type is not you know, s- data type is not allowed to change. So that's why you have to be very careful, define the data type correctly. Okay, and also here if you have multiple stats clutter policy in the proxy in a single flow, if there are multiple stats clutter policy are used, then only the last policy will execute it. APG will not execute the first ones. Okay, only the last policy will execute. So usually on a single proxy we only have one stats clutter policy. For the whole proxy we only have one stats clutter policy, and that is one of the last policies we put it there in the response. So in the response post flow, one of the last policy we put. Okay, if you want to put any custom data in analytics, so one we can put in the normal flow, one in the fault rule. In case of fault rule, if you want to put some custom analytics, right, custom data for error ID or error something, that you can put in your fault rule. And here normal success scenario, if you want to put some data, you can put a normal policy in the stats filter. So that's all.
Okay.
So yeah, this is let me show you some analytics from the UI. So let me stop sharing. I have to share the full screen. So let me know if you see my screen.
Yeah.
So I can show from our org also. Let me show from this org itself, because this is a production org. There is a lot of live traffic. Let me show you from here. So in analytics, if I click on analyze, so these are multiple reports there. Monitoring and all we will cover later in chapter 10.
Mm.
Okay, and security reporting also is chapter 10. So there are the main here is API metrics. So here you can see some metrics of API data. So this is usually it will keep in last 1 hour or last one day, I think. Yeah, last
Mm.
one day, last 24 hour. By default, it will give you last 24 hour, but you can take the report of up to 2 weeks, any 2 weeks interval. Okay, up to 2 weeks
Okay.
interval you can give. In APG public cloud, you can only have metrics for up to last 2 months. From last 2 months only, I think it will keep. Otherwise, it will delete, because analytics also is a very high data, right? High volume
Mm.
data. So in
Yeah.
public cloud, it will only keep the last 2 weeks. In private cloud, obviously, you can keep as much as you want. So it's up to you based on your how much size and all that you have. And then you can define the environment here. So you can select which environment you want. Okay, so for example, you want in production, and if you want to see production traffic in last 24 hours, you can see all these things. You can see total traffic. This was the total traffic from last 24 hours. Okay, and these are the traffic by proxy, which proxy received how much traffic and all those stuff. So you can see all these very high volume of traffic and everything. Same for cache performance and all, and the cache sheets and everything. If there is any cache data, so it will tell you all the cache hit rates, ratio, and all those stuff. You can see some cache hit ratio. Then you can select which proxy you want to see. So in this proxy we are using cache, so it will be, yeah, reading from that. And here in this filter you can apply last 7 days or last 15 days. You can select from here and all those stuff, and it will accordingly give you report. But because if I select now, it will take very long time, because this is like a very large data, right? So for a small data, it
Yeah.
will complete. Otherwise, these reports will take very long time to load. Okay,
Mm.
so all these things are there. Then you have error code analytics. That is so cache analytics for proxy traffic and cache. So this is like all the error codes. So how many error codes, total errors in last 24 hours, these many proxy errors, these many target errors. So it will tell you everything, all these things. So error by proxy, which proxy got which all, and what were the status codes and all those stuff, that also you can get. So 401, mostly 401, most likely access token expiry or wrong client ID, clone secret, whatever, right? So all kind of things you will get here. Okay, and then so that's why, and latency analytics, this thing, so latency and all. So latency, this is the response time. So this is like you can see, this is a response time. So total in the average, uh, average proxy response, average target response, whatever that you can get from here. Total latencies and all those stuff. Okay. And this is their server. So it is in Europe, right? So this is the APG EU Central One server. Okay, so this is, and then target performance. So this is again the target also information you can get, which targets are being hit, and what are their. So it will give you the IPs of the target server. It will not give you the domain names. IPs of the target server, and then how many calls for each target server, how many success, how many failure. So that's what the target error, success, and all those stuff. All kind of that's why all kind of reports and all you can build from API. Then there is a developer matrix, as you can see. So this is from the developer point of view and all. So in the last 24 hours, how many developers which API calls. So as there are, this is like a very highly active developer community and lot of API calls coming. That's why it might take some time to load the data in here.
Okay.
So that's why I mean this is like you can get all the reports, graphs, and chart. So these reports are useful for various stakeholders. Okay, so from a developer also there are reports for as a API developer. For operations guys also there is a, like reports. For business people also there are reports. No, for different stakeholders there are different kind of reports available, and whichever you need from your I mean your role, you can check the reports, and also you can build your custom reports also, as we saw. So there are all these options available. Okay. Okay, it is taking long time. Anyway, so yeah, that uh, so these online analytics reports. Sorry, this is API proxy only. So this traffic composition. So you can say top 10 proxies by traffic, top 10 developer by traffic, top 10 products, top 10 apps. So who are the most active consumers and everything, so that you can get.
Mm.
Yep. So this is, so anyways, yeah, this is there. So yeah, that is our chapter number 9. Uh, Let me talk about chapter 10. Let me know once you see my screen.
Yeah, I can.
So this is nothing new. We already had discussed this thing a lot previously. All the deployment options. So APGS products. One is APGS public cloud. This is the same one which I was giving you in demo, and
Mm.
we are doing the lab. So this is
Mm.
public cloud. Then APG has a private cloud version.
Mm.
So for APG private cloud, APG will provide you the whole package, okay, that you have to install in the virtual machines, VMs, okay, on your the servers of APG client. And if, for private cloud, they have to manage everything. So APG will provide only software; they will not do any kind of product support. Okay, I mean, as in they will have the operations, product team, and everything,
Mm.
installation, scaling, downscaling, whatever, anything that you have to do, starting server, is stopping server, or kind of thing. APG customer has to do it, okay, from their side,
Mm.
okay. And yeah, and then APG also has a APG hybrid. because APG hybrid is like one part in APG, one part is by customer cloud and all this stuff. Here, because uh, you have to put VMs for every component, right? So you have to put VMs for
Yeah.
all the components. So here you have to support more virtual machines. You need to host APG on more VMs, and you have to maintain more VMs also, right? So here. So, but it is good. There are benefits of obviously private cloud. Then you have better control here. Okay, so better control is
Hmm.
there. Then hybrid, as I discussed. So some part is hosted by APG. We call it management plane. Some part hosted by APG customer. So basically, you give Cassandra, you give router, and you give MP. These three. Master
Hmm.
processor, router, Cassandra. These three are given as a Kubernetes cluster. It is hosted by APG customer. They will host it. Okay, and there will be port opening. So there will be port open between all the APG management plane to that server and everything. Okay, so you can
Hmm.
host these three on the AWS, and you can connect APG from GCP, the management plane which is on GCP, to your AWS server. Not an issue. Okay, and then you can do it here. So that way you can do all kind of things here with, and you can use other GCP services also here. So from
Hmm.
hybrid, you can access other GCP services also which you want if you need for anything, even like stack driver and all those stuff, as I told, right? So for stack driver, BigQuery, or other GCP service, if you want to access, you can do that. Okay. And then so yeah, the reason for hybrid, so APG is now promoting hybrid a lot. So first you can here in hybrid, your runtime is in your network, correct? So it is more
Hmm.
closer to your backend. So your APG
Hmm.
runtime is closer to your backend, so the latency will be very less. Between APG to backend, latency will be very less, and you can process data within your network boundaries. Okay, and you can create your own TLS cipher, static IP, VPN, whatever you want to apply on the gateways and everything. All your security policies for network level security policies, you can put it there, and you will get all the APG features. Okay, at least all those things, and you don't have to manage all the servers. You only have to manage the containers, right? So you only have to maintain the containerized gateway, and don't have to worry about analytics UI, because see, analytics and all those stuff can take up to TBs, right? Analytics is a very
Hmm.
big size and all stuff. Analytics only will take TB, and also Cassandra. Here only you are storing one part of Cassandra, not all the Cassandra. So Cassandra is on
Okay.
two layer. Cassandra is on
Yeah.
management Cassandra also, and there is one runtime Cassandra. So only host the
Okay.
runtime Cassandra. You are not hosting the management Cassandra. Okay,
Okay.
and you don't host to APG UI. APG UI is still hosted by GCP. So GCP is sharing some burden of hosting and infrastructure, right? And you can yeah, you can scale up to cloud and all, not an issue. And you can yeah, utilize other GCP services and everything, BigQuery, Dataproc, and all those stuff, and you can build your own custom innovative apps. API is the micro gateway. So micro gateway is nothing but a Node.js based gateway. So it is Node.js based module. Okay, Node.js. You install Node.js module on your same, usually either on the same server as your backend service, or in the same network, usually on the same layer. But micro gateway will only have very basic feature. It has OAuth, OAuth client credential flow, and very basic OAuth client credential flow. It will have your API key, and what we did, quota and spike arrest. That's it. I think yeah, that's it there. And anything else, you can write your own custom code of Node.js. If you're expert with Node.js, you can write your custom code and put it there. But these are the very basic things that you can provide. So usually, if you are using APG as public cloud, it will only make sense if you are using APG as public cloud. Okay, and then your client is also inside your network. Your backend is in your network anyways, and you want your client and your backend to talk to each other without going through out of your network. Okay, all the calls should be within the network. Then you can put micro gateway in between. Micro gateway will provide some gateway features like this. Okay, and then you can call micro gateway. Micro gateway will then call the back, and micro gateway will keep sending the this thing, analytics data. Analytics data will be sent to the APG edge org. So micro gateway, I mean, you still need an APG edge org. You need to buy APG license, okay, to use micro gateway. Micro gateway is free. Okay, so this micro gateway is an open source Node.js module. You can download, you can install, but you still need to provide your APG edge org details so that it will connect to that APG edge org.
Hmm.
But this is micro gateway is not much successful anyways, because if you are using private cloud, then anyways you don't need it. In public cloud also, I mean, there's not much you can do. It's not adding much of the values. Okay, so very specific use case. So not much people use it. So in one or two projects only I have seen people using micro gateway, and that too I think it was like overkill just for additional security and all those stuff, adding one more hop and all those stuff. No, not much. Okay. So now here for this thing, um, APG you have reduced. So in APG micro gateway, obviously the latency will be very less because it is within the network. It is you can have the JWT tokens with and API keys. Okay, you can it can verify all those things, and you can have a lightweight. It is a very lightweight uh, Node.js module, and then you can have analytics. So you can transfer analytics. You can manage quota and spike arrest policy, and you can build your own custom plugins in JavaScript if you want to build. But again, you need to be expert with Node.js and all those on this thing. But as I said, it is not much of this thing. APG adapter,
Okay.
so this is discontinued, so we don't really need it. It is pretty much like
Okay.
micro gateway only. Built, it is
Uh-huh.
Node.js, was built for Istio, but Istio is not. It is now renamed to Envoy adapter. But this was like
Uh-huh.
Envoy was like it is Istio and Envoy. They are microservices management platform. So it is pretty much like before your microservices platform, you put this APG adapter, and people will call APG adapter. APG adapter will call your that Envoy like this. This is like
Okay.
not used at all. I have not seen anyone use anywhere. So
Hmm.
and it is pretty much the same thing as micro gateway. Pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
Now, APG, there is a something called Anthos. Anthos is a Google Cloud product. Okay, it's a Google Cloud
Okay.
product which allows multi-cloud connectivity. Okay, so Anthos is the underlying technology between hybrid. APG hybrid is built on top of Anthos. Okay, so Anthos will allow to build and manage multiple uh, applications, and it can run either on premise or GCP or some other server. Okay, so if you want to apply multi-cloud thing, so Anthos is the one which is used. Okay, and Anthos includes Kubernetes. It internally it uses Istio, Knative, all kind of things, and it provides service mesh, containerization, microservice. All things are there as part of Anthos. So Anthos is the one which is used by APG Hybrid. The APG Hybrid is built on top of Anthos, and it internally makes sure all the components are connected to each other. So it provides another layer of say virtualization, I guess, kind of thing. So you can put it on multiple servers. It will create kind of internal mesh or network kind. So in in management plane, you have APG services and all. Then in GCP services are there, and then this is all built on Anthos. So all this you have multiple things.
Hmm.
That is on the yeah. Yeah, these are the APG deployment options which are there.
Okay.
So that would do, anyways, most of them are covered. Mostly now, just one party left, which is the CI/CD in APG, offline development in CI/CD. So for that,
Mm-hmm.
APG provides you this thing. So are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
So APG. So usually for proxy editor, we go to proxy. We edit in the develop, right? We go to proxy editor, we can do editing on the develop menu, correct there, and we
Mm-hmm.
can give the new revision. So whatever changes we are making, we as a discipline we follow this, and then we make sure if we make anything wrong, then we can go back to old revision, correct, so that at least
Hmm. Yeah.
now but problem is that it is uh, up to us to follow discipline. If someone is not following, then what happens? Okay,
Hmm.
if someone is not following, then what happens, right? Because if there are multiple developers who are working on the same proxy, and one
Hmm.
developer has overwritten the code of other developer and forgot to save as a new revision. Okay,
Hmm.
like this.
Hmm.
So in that case, the changes that are done there, that will be lost, right? So that changes will be lost.
Hmm.
So that problem is like, so in the enterprise environment, so this proxy editor is wonderful if you have only one person working on there and all those stuff, or a small team.
Hmm.
But in the enterprise
Okay.
environment, you still need a source repository, right, where whatever changes that you are making, that changes should
Yeah.
be pushed somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So 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 and also you should have a source control, and you whatever changes you are doing, your changes should be able to deploy from your machine, also from your laptop itself. You don't have to log into APG from your laptop. If you fire commands, there should be some tool available. If you fire command, it will
Hmm.
go and deploy the changes like this. Okay, but this
Okay.
is usually done only after you become expert with APG. You understand
Hmm.
the XMLs of this, XML of these policies and everything, right? So that you understand, okay, how this work,
Hmm.
okay. So that's why. So APG provides all these tools which can integrate with your build systems and do your offline development also. So you don't have to, either you can do it from the UI and then you can download the code and then you can put that also is possible. Or if you are uh, doing completely offline development from your local itself, you are doing development from there also, you
Hmm.
can push the code to your source repo and you can fire a command which can deploy APG. Okay, so here for
Hmm.
example, if you download APG code, and if you unzip that, if you download APG and if you unzip that, APG will have a single folder structure. So you will have API proxy folder. Okay, inside API proxy folder there will be one XML file for the proxy name, whatever proxy name. Okay, and then inside that there will be multiple subfolders. So one will be like policies, all the policies will go inside the policies folder. Okay, all the targets will go inside the target folder, target endpoint will go inside target folder. Okay, and there will be proxies folder also. So proxies folder will go, all the proxy will go inside the proxy endpoint will go in the proxies folder. Okay, so all this, like in the last you see proxies, right? So the proxy endpoint XML will go in the proxy folder. Internally everything in APG XML on, right? So it will have create all these folder and all the JavaScript code and all will go in the resources folder. So if you have JS code or whatever, it will have a resources folder. So all these things will be, you know uh, 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 unzipped. When you unzip that and put it there, extract it, will be
Hmm.
there. So what
Okay.
happens? APG has a built a Maven plugin. So usually in APG, you have in your source code repo. If you have a GitLab or GitHub, whatever GitHub or GitLab, you
Hmm.
put your code and you there is a certain structure we have to follow. We have a SRC folder. Inside SRC, we
Hmm.
have another folder called Gateway. Inside
Hmm.
Gateway, then for each proxy, okay, each proxy we will have one folder. Okay, and inside
Hmm.
that, anyways, it will be whatever you download. If you unzip, you will have this get you will get the same folder structure, or that don't have to worry. Okay, you'll have proxy
Okay.
folder and all those, so that will be there. Okay, then APG has this Maven plugin. So there are two kind of Maven plugin. One is for proxy deployment. So for code you have the APG deploy Maven plugin, and for like configuration like target server, key value map, caches, right, all these configuration, APG has a APG config Maven plugin. Okay, so there are two different Maven plugins. Okay, usually we keep two separate repository. One repository will have APG code, which is the proxy and shared flows. Okay, that will be there. Okay, and second we'll have all the other things, everything else in the APG. So all the configuration, right, all the configuration you can put in the other ones. Okay, so even the
Okay.
API products and KVMs, caches, target servers, references, virtual host, all kind of things you can put in there. Okay, so APG, this is the, let me show you. So you can this is publicly available. You can Google it, APG deploy Maven plugin. So this is the APG deploy Maven plugin. Okay, here the main branch right now. Here you can see this is the main branch of this code. So this main branch is for APG-X. Okay, it is for APG-X and hybrid. If you want to apply the same plugin for APG Edge, you have to go to this branch, one.x. So one.x branch has the code for APG Edge. So it will have, it is a very nice tool and it is a step-by-step guide. You need to install Java and you need to install Maven. In order to use this, you need to install Maven and Java. Maven is like not related to APG. Maven is a separate technology that is used by for all the Java development. So Maven
Hmm.
is used for all the Java deployment. So if you want to deploy any Java code or something, so Maven is used for packaging and deploying Java code. APG also has built their own Maven plugin, added their own logic and everything. Okay, and then they have built the Maven plugin for that. So this link, I would request you to go through this link. It has a very good step-by-step guide, and there is this a publicly available. This is like a code also. You can check out the code. You can, this is publicly available. The publicly available GitHub repository. You can check this out, and you can follow this step-by-step guide also. There's sample code also. If you want to deploy the sample code by following instruction, you can even try that out. Okay, it is very straightforward, very easy to integrate. Okay, just that you need to have Maven and you need to have Java, okay, installed on your system. Okay,
Hmm.
so this is the Maven. Uh, so this is the yeah. So this is the Maven repository. Are you able to see this Maven repository? Right now, I'm sharing the full screen. Correct? Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, so this is the
But uh,
let me share again in case you. So this is the Maven. So this is the Maven. What do you say? I've given you the link, which is the for Maven deploy plugin, and this is remember
Okay.
this the branch is
Uh,
1.x. Okay, so 1.x is
okay.
branch is for APGH, and main branch. If you download main branch code, if you check out the main branch is for APG X, APGX. Main branch is APGX and hybrid, and this one is 1.x is for APGH. Okay,
Okay.
this can be used for both APGH public cloud as well as APGH private cloud. You can use it. Okay,
Hmm.
and then this thing, and then yeah. Uh, then what happens? Uh, yeah. So yeah, this is there, and then uh, the APG config one. So there is another plugin. So in most of the projects that I have worked on, people use Maven only. Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
Java is more enterprise grade thing, right? So people use Maven is also like a widely used technology. So there is Maven config plugin, Maven this one. So the Maven config plugin the same thing. Main branch is for APG X and hybrid, and 1.x is if you download 1.x, this is for APG. Okay, so this is the config plugin. So this also has a step-by-step guide and very easy to follow. This one also you can use it for uh, this one configurations, all the configs. Okay, so this is used for config. So you can step-by-step guide is there. You can follow that. I mean, they have a very good documentation. Follow and
Mm-hmm.
will explain, and then you can go through. So this one usually you won't have to do all these things. There will be operations guys. Usually there will be DevOps guys or operations guys who might set it up everything for you. They will already give you the structure and all those stuff. You just need to
Mm-hmm.
run some Maven commands, and they will tell you. There usually there is a documentation page in every company that they will tell you just try these commands and follow these commands, and you have to deploy like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is there for the Maven and CI/CD integration. So Maven is for deployment. Okay. Now to integrate as part of CI/CD. So for example, if you are pushing the code into branch, right? If you push the code into your GitLab, okay, automatically it should be able to pick and deploy. So those kind of things. I mean you can. I mean there are some people who can build pipelines in GitLab itself. So GitLab has a pipeline, but in APG we use Jenkins. So there is Jenkins also. Let me. Uh, so there is some ready-made Jenkins also. I can give you some links. So this is the Jenkins CI demo. So this one you can follow. This is like if someone want to see the Jenkins, it has Maven integrated with that. So this Jenkins is a Maven, comes with Maven, and there is a sample proxy also. There is a sample currency API. So you can just follow this. You can follow this documentation to install Jenkins. So Jenkins is a CI/CD tool. So like Maven APG, people have also built some integration with the Jenkins. So Jenkins is for CI/CD and Maven is for proxy deployment. Okay, so
Okay.
these two are the most common ones. In most of my projects, I have used Maven only, Maven and Jenkins, or sometimes Maven with some CI/CD pipeline. But I never have to create too much. Mostly the operations guys are there. There will be DevOps people and operations guys. They will do all the setup. We just have to fire the commands and everything. Okay.
Hmm.
Then this is APG tool. So this APG tool is Node.js. This is like Node.js based tool. So this is a Node.js based tool. So it is a command line tool. Whatever you can do with Maven, it is equivalent of that Maven tool in Node.js. Okay, so if you are
Hmm.
familiar with Node.js and you want to use Node.js, so you can do it. Let me give you that link also. So with APG tool npm. So this is the npm. So it is node is open source, so this is also open source tool. So here it will tell you all the commands, everything, what are the commands and how to run and all the stuff, and what all activity you can do using this node.js tool. So as you can see all this, whatever, I mean everything. So in node.js there is a single tool only to do both. You have proxy deployment, salesforce deployment, or all the any kind of config deployment, everything, all the configuration, everything, there is a single tool to do everything. Okay, so all the activities you can do via this single tool only. So for Maven we have two different plugins. This is there on the APG tool for.
Okay.
And then this is if you want to build your own CI/CD or build your own deployment, people I have seen, there are in few projects people have built their own custom things also. So APG provides management API for every activity. These tools we saw in management API, the tools for Node.js or tool for Maven, those tools are nothing but they are internally calling management APIs only. Okay, so they are internally calling management APIs, and then they will do all the activity for deployment of proxy and deployment, deleting whatever, or any kind of activity. Everything is possible from management API. So you can build your own custom tool also, and you can use in the CI/CD tool chain. So it is APG has all these things available. Then so these are the tools and all used. Okay. But as I said, you don't have to set up all these tools. You just have to use the tools. So I think just going through those document will help you understand. But yeah,
Mhm.
the operations guys and DevOps people, they will do the setup and all. You just have to
Yeah.
use it and just fire the commands. Just okay.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, that completes our APG training.
Environment.
Okay.
So
So for non-pod also they have given you read access.
yeah, yeah.
But in that case,
One
how would you
minute.
do development much?
I'll not do a bit development just to understand right now.
Okay, okay, got it.
Later on, I would probably
Okay, but this is very,
try to get.
very small for me. Increase the
Are
size.
you able to zoom in or zoom out from your end?
Yeah, I'm zooming in, but if I zoom in, that I only see only one part of this thing. Then you might have to scroll up, scroll down for it.
Okay, okay. So let me first go to non-prod. So this is the non-prod setup. Not sure if.
Yeah, I can see this thing. What is there? APG. So you have lots of API gateways. Okay, these are
Yeah.
Dev, SIT, UAT. Okay, all the
It,
non-prod.
hmm.
Okay, okay, got it. GCP will from GCP load balancer it will come to APG. So your backend systems are in the GCP or it is in the different infrastructure or something.
My backend are in GCP.
So backends also are in GCP only, right?
Yeah.
So they are in the same kind of network or they are like different. No, I see there is
So
Azure. It is saying Azure here. The backend is
Azure,
Azure.
Azure is here, AWS is here, and on-prem is here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Not GCP. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, okay. So different backends. Anyway, that doesn't
yeah.
really matter as long as there is
Hmm.
connecting. Yeah, this is a standard straightforward. I don't think there is much here. You have okay. There are some of them which are having mutual TLS also, correct? Some
Yeah,
MTLS,
yeah. MTLS is also
some
there.
MTLS, and some TLS standard only TLS.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you see
Okay.
APGX external is here, APGX internal is mentioned here, right?
Hmm. Correct.
So again, API clients external, API clients internal.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is this and what is this?
No, so there might be internal consumers. So the internal departments and internal teams
Okay,
will be consuming. So you might be having different APIs for them or different deployment for them. And for
okay,
externals, you will be having a different infrastructure. So that is exposed
okay.
publicly.
So
So
but
you
this
might be having lots of
APGX external, APGX internal, are they different orgs?
that you have to check from the UI. So that's what that
Okay, so UI, if you see, this is the APGX, this is our UI.
you proxy, right? So you can see the
Yeah,
environment. Well, I again I need to scale down. So on the org, how many on the drop down? On the top level, you see the drop down of org, right? That is
this one, right?
yeah, yeah. So you see how many are there.
Non-prod external, non-prod internal.
That is then it is a separate org. If you are saying the
Uh,
separate org, it's separate org.
Separate
Okay.
org, yeah.
Yeah. So that's fine.
External.
Yeah.
And you
So
wanted also to see how APGX looks like. So this is
yeah, yeah. This is so I mean only few things are different. 80 to 85%. The proxy, whatever works in APGH, same proxy will work here also.
same.
So
Hmm.
that way is not much. I mean, so whatever the course we did, at least everything will be applicable to
Hmm.
APGH also.
We the environments also, there are many environments here. Dev city under the
Hmm.
till UAT, many and dev,
Yeah,
SIT,
there are
UAT, like that. Almost one for dev. You have 8 different environments. Then again, some dev edge, like that. It is mentioned.
yeah.
API products. New home for this. What should I do here? API products, whenever we have a new home for this page, we are moving APG to the cloud console for streamline access and consistent experience across your Google Cloud products. Latest APG features and update, please make the cloud console your new home. Should I click on viewing Google Cloud console or cancel?
You can click. I mean, it is just I think they are doing something with the UI, adding a new UI perhaps on the so
Okay.
which is more in line with the Google Cloud. So now
hmm
this Google Cloud will have a different one. So if the UI also has changed as per this one.
So these are the different API products. So analytics, advanced API security, API observation, API hub management, all these are there. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Let me first go through the course. Ajay. Probably I'll only understand it my way once
Yeah, I think if
I
you go through
yeah
this, a lot of things will anyways you most of the
yeah
things is
yeah
there.
yeah. Let me go
Okay.
through and then we'll probably. Thank you so much, Manish, for the
Thank you.
training.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a
Yeah
lot. Thanks
yeah.
a
I'll
lot.
be in touch. Okay.
Yeah, and
Thank
happy
you.
Diwali.